this event, and a message of support from our General Secretary, Len McCluskey, who has, of course, visited I would say personally it's a pleasure for me to be here in the borough of Tower Hamlets, where I spoke many times 10, 12, 15 years ago against the criminal war on Iraq, then been launched by Blair and Bush. And I think the attacks on democracy in Tower Hamlets today are part of the establishment's counter-attack against the mobilisation of hundreds of thousands of British Muslims against that criminal. Is proud to associate itself with Look for Rahman. We have worked closely with him. We have opened a centre in Cable Street, helping together to bring education and training to people in this borough. We also welcome the fact that he's one of the few local authorities anywhere in the country to have said they will not do any deals with firms that blacklist trade unionism. So we are proud to work with him. And Richard Morley, that is not spiritual influence, that is class solidarity, and I'm proud to proclaim it here today. And on the subject of spiritual influence, we are told in the classic manner of a British colonialist that all these ignorant people have been misled by their clerics. And we have examples from the Bishop of Neath calling down damnation on those who voted for Irish nationalism in the last century. But his case rests wholly on a letter from 101 imams. I had a look at the letter. This is the seditious material they are producing. We are addressing the fact that Tower Hamlets has made significant and enviable improvements in the areas of housing, education, community cohesion, interfaith harmony, road safety and youth development. It is essential that someone is elected at mayor who is able to lead these improvements and who will not discriminate on the basis of language, colour and religious identity. They say, we believe it is not an offence to be a Muslim voter. Under no circumstances is it acceptable to give a voter less value or to criticise them on the basis of their identity. Would anyone other than Muslims be attacked for presenting such unexceptionable democratic sentiments? Because you are holding Muslims to a different standard to anyone else, because you want to drive them out of politics, yes, you are an Islamic line, yes! And frankly, if you want any of that directional, it's not spiritual influence, it's under the influence of spirits you will have to be. And in my view, a judge like that is hardly fit to adjudicate a parking case, let alone choose who should run a great borough. About the undue influence, exertion of influence. Why don't you look at the undue exertion of influence in our general election today, being waged on behalf of his community, the rich elite, by the likes of Rupert Murdoch and his corrupt and racist press? That is the poison in our democracy, not religious leaders expressing their own free opinions. As others have said, this is all about democracy. One judge, one vote is not democracy at all. And we have to reject entirely this attempt to set aside the democratic will of a community in favour of the views of one judge. Now, I stand here as representing a union that is affiliated to the Labour Party, and it would not be right for me not to say a word about that. Now, Richard Morley, I suppose this is on the principle that monkeys type Shakespeare eventually, did say Rutger Rahman's treatment by the Labour National Executive was utterly shameful and wholly unworthy of the party which rightly prides itself on having passed the Human Rights Act. That is absolutely true, and the Labour Party, which unfortunately by some of its decisions has contributed to the situation that has arisen today, it's past time for it to start making amends. Now, I have a poster dating from 1906 produced by the Labour Party saying, vote Labour against judge-made law, reflecting the fact that the Labour Party then knew that only democracy and not judicial decisions, then directed against trade unions, a habit that has continued to this day, I might add, that only democracy could advance working people's interests, ordinary people's interests. Even the Labour Party never imagined judge-made elections taking place. And again, in Murray's report, he does say, look for Rahman had reached out time and again to the Labour Party. And I say, on behalf of Unite, it is time the Labour Party responded, time it stopped this attack on people whose values and views are well within the Labour mainstream, reached out a hand and stopped aligning itself with this undemocratic assault on the people of Tower Hamlets. So, colleagues, to conclude my remarks, I know we're told, obviously we all always talk to play the ball and not the man, but Richard Morey was pretty free with personal abuse and remarks to, I think, a scandalous extent. So let me say that I would regard his report, which I read the entirety of it this morning, as a work of unabashed megalomania by a pringing puppet of the ruling elite in this country. We should all unite to oppose it. I know there will be judicial measures taken to oppose it, democratic measures, but I view we should all unite in struggle and solidarity on the basis of democracy, of opposition to racism, and unity of all the working people of this borough against this outrageous travesty of democracy. Thank you.